Hello and welcome to another Magic the Gathering video. So this is the second of two videos that I've done on Dissension. So it's another video, another nostalgic video. If you want to see the sort of introduction about Dissension and a little bit about the set itself and where it fits into things, then basically, if you haven't done already, I would watch the first video where I open the first 5 packs. We're now into the second 5 packs from this set that I have. So we're going to crack these open, see what we get. We did pretty well in the first set of 5 in terms of rares, and let's see what we can get with this. Okay, so first up, our first common in our first pack is Ocular Halo, Aurora Eidolon. We've got a Rakdos Carnarium, which is the bounce land in black-red at common. Simic Ragworm, Entropic Eidolon, Cackling Flames, which has Hellbent on it. So with the Hellbent, there were, if you remember, there were 3 keyword abilities in the set, which represents each of the guilds. So the Hellbent ability, although this is on a red card, was actually the Rakdos one. So when you play this, 3 in a red, Cackling Flames deals 3 damage to target creature or player. And with Hellbent activated, Cackling Flames deals 5 damage to that creature or player instead if you have no cards in hand. So the condition for this with Hellbent was always you have basically no cards in hand. So this is the only card that you've got in your hand. You cast it, your hand's empty, and the Hellbent triggers. That's the only thing that will trigger it, basically. So what they're doing is encouraging you to basically play very aggressively. Sporeback Troll, it's graft on it. So this is the Simic keyword ability. So it's 3 in a green for 0/0. All the creatures I believe came into play and were 0/0 to start with. The graft raised up the power and toughness, so it didn't die straight away through having no toughness. And so this puts 2 counters onto it. Look at this creature comes into play with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Whenever another creature comes into play, you may move a +1/+1 counter from this creature to it. So the graft ability was always the same. The number just changed in there based on the number of counters that you put on. And then with some of the, as we saw with the other unboxing, I thought maybe all of the cards had a secondary ability that was specifically related to the counter. It appears that the ones we've seen so far all have a second ability, but some aren't directly related to the presence of counters, but this one is. So 1 in a green, regenerate target creature with a +1/+1 counter on it. There's also other cards in the set which play around with counters but actually aren't branded up as being part of that guild. With there's a monocolour green one, I think, that puts counters on creatures, which isn't specifically branded up like this is. This has the Simic watermark on there. Again, it's pretty difficult to see unless the cards are foil a lot of the times. So Plumes of Peace. So here we go. We've, in our first few packs, we've got the 3 keyword abilities already. So 1 white blue. Enchantment Aura, enchant creature. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untapped step. Forecast. So for 1 and a blue, reveal Plumes of Peace from your hand, tap target creature. So with the forecast ability, what you tended to find was there was the casting cost itself. You could play it normally for that. And in this one, the enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untapped step. The forecast ability is usually less. I think all of them are less actually, by varying degrees. And what you get is a lesser effect. So you simply reveal the card and then you tap the target creature, as opposed to if you play it for its full cost, the enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. So there's a slight difference in degrees, I suppose, with the whatever effect it has, and you'll notice that with other forecast cards like this one. So with this one, and this is interesting, so this possibly we're going to see might be flipped, because you can see here for a single white enchant creature, and whenever enchanted creature attacks, if its power is 2 or less, it's unblockable this turn. And for forecast for 1 and a blue, so it's actually more expensive to do the forecast where you reveal it from your hand, target creature with power 2 or less is unblockable this turn. So in the first instance, the regular casting cost, it's just looking to see if its power is 2 or less, it's unblockable this turn. And the reveal one is target creature with power 2 or less is unblockable this turn. Interesting. Yeah, okay. So I'm just trying to get my head around the reason why that's more expensive to cast and why it would be considered to be more of an advantage. The other thing you notice with this is, with the forecast, it's not leaving your hand. So you can see there that the reminder text says play this ability only during your upkeep and only once each turn. So because it never leaves your hand, with forecast you can keep redoing the forecast if you've got enough mana on consecutive turns. Once you cast it regularly, it's done. It's it's on the battlefield. Hazda Exonerator. It's a single white, 1/1, tap, sacrifice, Hazda Exonerator, destroy target aura. Delirium Schemes. Fertile Imagination. So moving on to our uncommons. Sky Huzzah has forecast on it. So for 3 white blue with flying, when Sky Huzzah comes into play, untap all creatures you control. Forecast, tap 2 untap white or blue creatures you control. Reveal Sky Huzzah from your hand, draw a card. So this actually has no cost to forecast it. Well, sorry, that's not true. Has no mana cost to cast it. It does have an alternative cost. So the alternative cost is to tap 2 untap white creatures that you control instead of, so it's like an alternative to a casting cost, alternative casting cost to paying mana. Weight of Spires. And our rare is Omnibane, I think that is Omnibane. And it's 1 double green and a blue. Creature Frog. It's a 3/3, tap, and target creature becomes a 3/3 frog until end of turn. So it temporarily makes other creatures frogs. Okay, so we have our first card of our second pack, Rakdos Signet. So that's the black-red artifact. Aurora Eidolon, Aurora Eidolon. Azorius Chancery, white-blue bounce land. Verdant Eidolon, Assault Zeppelin, Psychotic Fury, Sporeback Troll, so graph 2 on this one. Valor Made Real, Enigma Eidolon, so it looks like we've got our full cycle of Eidolons here, spread over the last, both this week and last week's pack openings. Shielding Plaques, Whiptail Moloch, another Drekavac, must probably have a playset of those by now. Indrik Stomp Howler, so that's our second one I believe. Another Trigon Predator, and again these, I think I pulled these actually last week. And our rare is War's Toll, so for 3 and a red it's an enchantment. Whenever an opponent taps a land for mana, tap all lands that player controls. If a creature an opponent controls attacks, all creatures that opponent controls attack if able. Okay, so we have an Ogre Gatecrasher, Demon's Jester with Flying and Hellbent on it. So our reward for having no cards in hand is +2/+1 to Demon Jester. Ocular Halo, Aquastrand Spider, Freewind Equinaut, Azorius Chancery, so I'm getting a lot of these bounce lands, which is cool. Vesperghoul. So with this one, tap 1 life, add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. Enigma Eidolon, Gobhobbler Rats with Hellbent on it, Valamade Reel, Nettling Curse. So I think I pointed out these this sort of card before, where you've got a 1 colour for the casting cost and an activation cost in the relevant guild colour. So this is Rakdos, so we've got 2 and a black to cast and 1 and a red for the activation cost. Oh, here's a Rakdos Guild Mage here, so cycle of Guild Mages. I think now we've seen all 3 spread over the last couple of videos. So this is black red. They were all 2/2s for 2 in the guild colours as hybrid mana, and then obviously their abilities 1 for each of the colours. So 3 in a black, discard a card, target creature gets -2/- till end of turn, and 3 in a red, put a 2/1 red goblin creature token with haste into play, remove it from the game at end of turn. Bond of Agony, Stomp and Howl, and our rare is Rakdos Augur Mage. So 2 black and a red, creature human wizard. It's a 3/2 with first strike. Tap, reveal your hand, and discard a card of target opponent's choice. Then that player reveals his or her hand and discards a card of your choice. Play this ability only any time you could play a sorcery. Okay, so we have a Seal of Fire, a Slaughterhouse Bouncer with has Hellbent on it, Minister in Impediments. Oh, here's the Utopia Sprawl. So I mentioned in the first video there was one, so it's Chase Common. Utopia Sprawl's around about 350 US. So single green, enchantment aura, enchant forest. As Utopia Sprawl comes into play, choose a colour. Whenever enchanted forest is tapped for mana, its controller adds 1 mana of the chosen colour to his or her mana pool. So this is currently the most expensive common in the set, I believe. Freewind Equinaut, Azorius Signet, Plumes of Peace, Vision Skeins, Soulsworn Jury, Coiling Oracle, Whiptail Moloch, Pain and Magnification, Ragamuffin, which has Hellbent on it, Patiga Viper, so we've had a few of these now, I think. And our rare is Psychic Possession. So Psychic Possession, 2 and 2 blue, enchantment aura. Enchant opponent, skip your draw turn. Whenever enchanted opponent draws a card, you may draw a card. So it's moving your draw step, or removing it, and then making it so whenever an opponent draws something, you get to draw something. So you're sort of drawing on their draw step, plus any additional times that they might be drawing cards. It's interesting because I'm just thinking that through in my head and thinking, well, does that sort of card, from your point of view, better facilitate Hellbent? Because at the start of your turn, you're not filling your hand up. So that's an interesting thing to look for in these sets. I'm not saying it definitely will. It depends on, obviously, other circumstances. But certainly not filling your hand at the start of your step obviously changes the point at which various cards might get triggered. So it's quite useful, I think, with sets like this to see, are there any colours, are there any cards in colours that aren't part of the guild, aren't the guild colours. So with Rakdos we're talking red black, which is Hellbent, but are there other cards which are in one of the other colours which actually might make you gravitate towards playing a 3-colour deck? And we sort of saw that with I don't think we've seen a split card yet in this particular opening, but the previous Dissension one I did, we definitely saw one. And I think I pointed out how you've got colour pairs which share a colour, but one of the colour pairs is in a guild which isn't actually in the set. So it'd be interesting how there probably are other cards within here which help facilitate certain keyword abilities or certain I suppose strategies, might be a better term, within a certain guild, which aren't necessarily colours within that guild or on colour for that guild. So it's just again something to think about. Psychotic Fury, Seal of Doom, Verdant Eidolon, Guardian of the Guild Pack, Silkwind Scout, Crackling Flames, Beacon Hawk, Enemy of the Guild Pact, Riot Spikes. There's quite a few enchantments in this particular set and the block generally. Taste for Mayhem, another card with Hellbent on it. Simic Initiate, it's got Graft on it. Simic Basilisk, Jagged Poppet. So we've got loads of cards here with the various guild keyword abilities. We've got Mistral Charger, and our rare is Rakdos Right Knife in foil as well. So I could see a foil lurking at the back here, and I couldn't tell whether it was the rare or whether it was an additional card beyond the rare, like it was replacing one of the commons or uncommons. So 2 to cast, artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 for each blood counter on Rakdos Right Knife, and has tap. Sacrifice a creature, put a blood counter on Rakdos Right Knife. Black red, sacrifice Rakdos Right Knife. Target player sacrifices a permanent for each blood counter on Rakdos Right Knife. Equipped 2. As I'm looking at this, actually, I'm just thinking about my old friend. Let's see if I can get this shoved to the side here. Sikar Deathkeeper. Yeah, would that be at home in a Sikar Deathkeeper EDH deck? A pretty fun card to play, actually, this one. I'm just admiring. Yeah, see, this is what I was talking about. This, when you can sort of truly see on a foil card the watermark from the guild just pop out there. In fact, you can see it was popping out so much that I was actually having trouble reading the card, which is often the case. Again, we've got that sort of marbling effect, which is being highlighted a bit more by the foiling. And on the picture itself, things like the eyes are foiled. So we've got this sort of foily white eyes, silver eyes, and then the various sort of, I can't tell if that's spikes or ring. Oh, there's rings. It looks like piercings on her forearm there. They're sort of popping out as well. That's a pretty cool card, actually. I have no clue actually how much that is. I suspect it's not worth that much. I don't see it on very high up on the list, but I actually think it's a pretty cool card there. So equipped creature gets +1/+0 for each blood counter on Rakdos Right Knife, and has tap. Sacrifice a creature, put a blood counter on Rakdos Red Knife. Black red, sacrifice Rakdos Red Knife. Target player sacrifices a permanent for each blood counter on Rakdos Right Knife. So you can target yourself. That's the key thing. When I first looked at this, I thought, oh, well, that's not a lot of help. But yeah, you can do some interesting. I love cards like this which have interesting utility, where the cards sort of can go either way. You can sort of use it on yourself, and in the right deck, with the right circumstances, it works well. But also, it can be used against an opponent. Okay, there we have it. That's our second 5 packs from the Dissension set. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.